Good morning everyone. In the last lecture I have discussed about the chemical bonding, various types of chemical bonding, ionic bonding and the example of ionic bonding. Now in this lecture I will discuss about the various conditions which favor the formation of ionic bond. Now there are so many factors which favor the formation of ionic bond. So we will discuss each factor in detail one by one. So let's start with the first factor, that is the electronegativity. Now what do you mean by electronegativity? The electronegativity is the tendency of an atom to attract the shared pair of electron towards itself. So there should be a large electronegativity difference between the combining atom. For example, all the halogens, nitrogen, oxygen, they are electronegative atom, means they have a tendency to attract a shared pair of electron towards itself. And halogens, they are highly electronegative elements. And alkali metals, they are highly electropositive elements. Means alkali metal, they have a tendency to lose an electron from their valence shell. So if they will lose their electron, they will convert easily into cations. And the halogens, they are highly electronegative elements, means they have a tendency to attract a shared pair of electron towards itself. And when they will attract a shared pair of electron towards itself, they will convert into anions. Now after the formation of cation and anion, it is easier to form an ionic bond. Therefore, large electronegativity difference should be there between the two combining elements. There are some exceptional example also, for example lithium 2 positive and beryllium 2 positive. The next factor which favor the formation of ionic bond is the inert gas configuration. As you all know that each atom, they have a tendency to attain a stable configuration by loss or gain of electrons. So the combining element should attain noble gas configuration by loss or gain of electron requires stability. Inert gas configurations attained by the methods of group 1, group 2 and group 3 by the way of complete loss of valence electron, and by non-metals group 7, group 6 and group 5 by the way of gaining 1, 2, 3 electron respectively. Therefore, they combine to form a ionic bond. Transition elements like copper, zinc, silver, cadmium, gold, mercury, they lose 1 or 2 electron and form a cation with the 18 electron stable structure. 18 electron stable structure means in their valence shell they have a completely filled orbitals. Since copper, silver and gold show variable valency of +1, +2 and +3. The third factor which favor the formation of ionic bond is the ionization energy. Ionization energy is the minimum amount of energy required to remove the most loosely bound electron, that is the valence electron of an isolated neutral gaseous atom or a molecule. So if the minimum amount of energy required is less, then it is easily converted into electropositive element, means it is easily converted into cation. So there is a easier formation of cations. Lower the value of ionization energy of an atom of electropositive element, greater will be the ease of formation of cation. For example, alkali and alkaline earth metals. Ionization energy increases as we move from left to right. Very high oxidation state is not favored in the formation of ionic bond. Example, anhydrous aluminium chloride is covalent in nature as aluminium has +3 oxidation state and highly polarizing. But on hydration, AlCl3 forms hydrated AlCl3 positive and Cl negative ions. Therefore, hydrated AlCl3 acts as an ionic compound as hydration possesses exothermy. Now, on hydration means when we dissolve AlCl3 in water, what will happen? It will dissociate into Al3 positive cation and Cl negative anion. Now, the negative, as you know, water molecules has 3 atoms. One is oxygen and 2 are hydrogen atom. Oxygen atom is highly electronegative, so it contains delta positive charge. And on hydrogen atom there is a delta positive charge. On oxygen there is delta negative charge. So the Al3 positive, that is the cation, will attract the negative part, that is the delta negative oxygen atom towards itself. Therefore the water molecules, they will arrange around Al3 positive. And similarly Cl negative part of AlCl3, they will attract the positive part, that is the positive part of water molecule, that is a hydrogen atom. In this way, the water molecule, they form a cluster form a group around these cations and anions. Therefore, the hydrated AlCl3 acts as an ionic compound on hydration. Now, next factor is electron affinity. Now, what do you mean by electron affinity? That is the minimum amount of energy released when an electron is added to a neutral atom or a molecule. See in this diagram, when an electron is added in the neutral atom or a gaseous atom, then what will happen? It will convert it into anion with the some amount of energy released, and the amount of energy released in this case is known as the electron affinity, which is represented by Ea. Higher the electron affinity of non-metal, greater will be the ease of formation of anions. Therefore, it is an exothermic process and it lowers the energy of the formation. The next factor which favors the formation of ionic compound is the electrostatic force of attraction. So, when atom is converted into cations and anions, then there is some electrostatic force of attraction between cation and anion. And the strength or force of attraction between two charged bodies, they can be calculated by using Coulomb's law. That is, F is equal to K Q1 into Q2 divided by R square. F is the electrostatic force of attraction or repulsion. K is the Coulomb constant. Q1, Q2, they are the charge on cation or anion, and R is the distance from the center of the two charges. See in this diagram, in the first pic there are two opposite charges are there, that is the two unlike charges are there. So two opposite charges are there, then the electrostatic force of attraction originate between these two opposite charges. And here next is plus charges, minus charges, they are like charges, and when they are like charges they will repel each other. So in this, electrostatic force of repulsion will create. Now this is the potential energy curve. That is the overall energy of a system, that is equal to ionization energy minus electron affinity of an ion minus Coulombic force of attraction. Now what do you mean by this potential energy curve? In this diagram, we are taking energy on y-axis and the internuclear separation on x-axis. So when we brought two atoms from infinity and we combine these two atoms to form a molecule, so whenever these two atoms they come closer to each other, then what will happen? Two types of forces originate. One is electrostatic force of attraction and the electrostatic force of repulsion. Initially the electrostatic force of attraction is more and the electrostatic force of repulsion is less, but when we take these two atoms come closer to each other, then at certain distance, after some certain distance, electrostatic force of repulsion become more and electrostatic force of attraction become less. So that distance, when electrostatic force of repulsion is more than the electrostatic force of attraction, that is the minimum distance above which the two atoms cannot come close to each other, because if they come close to each other it will become unstable, because electrostatic force of repulsion is more than the electrostatic force of attraction. That is the minimum distance is known as the bond length or the bond distance between two atoms, because if that distance will decrease, then the electrostatic force of repulsion is more. So there the dotted line that is shown in this potential energy curve diagram is the minimum distance or the bond length between the two atoms above which the electrostatic force of repulsion is more and electrostatic force of attraction is less. Now the next factor is sublimation energy and dissociation energy. What do you mean by sublimation energy? The increase in the internal energy when a unit mass or 1 mole of a solid is converted into gas at constant pressure and temperature. And what do you mean by dissociation energy? That is the energy required to break every chemical bond in a molecule and completely separate all its atoms. Now how this sublimation energy and bond dissociation energy help in the formation of an ionic compound? So what should be the value of this? Low sublimation energy of metal and low dissociation energy of non-metal. They favors the formation of ionic compound. Since the energy change is negative during the formation of ionic compound, which is found in exothermic process. The seventh factor is the lattice energy. Now lattice energy can be defined in two ways. First is the lattice energy can is the energy required to convert 1 mole of an ionic compound into gaseous ionic constituents. That is, we are this NaCl, which is in solid state, is converted into Na positive, that is in gaseous state, and Cl negative, which is also in gaseous state. Or in other words, you can say the amount of energy released the ionic solid is formed from its gaseous ionic constituents. For example, when Na positive, which is in gaseous state, reacts with the Cl negative, which are also present in a gaseous state, and form an ionic solid, that is NaCl, which is present in a solid form. So this is the crystal lattice of NaCl ionic solid. In this, Na and Cl negative, they are arranged in a particular symmetry, in a definite symmetry. So to break this bond between Na positive and Cl negative, we require the amount of energy required to break this bond is known as the lattice energy, and that energy is equal to 786 kilojoules. So high lattice energy favors the formation of ionic bond. So these are the 7 factors which help in the formation of ionic bond. So we will revise this factor. The first factor is the large electronegativity difference between combining atom. Second factor is inert gas configuration. Third factor is low ionization energy of the metal. Fourth factor is high electron affinity of non-metals. Fifth is electrostatic force of attractions. Sixth one is low sublimation energy of matter and low dissociation energy of non-matter. And seventh is high lattice energy. So these are the various factors which favor or which help in the formation of ionic bond. So in the next lecture we will do what is radius ratio rule and how this radius ratio rule help in the formation of ionic bond and ionic structures, covalent bond, and this. So in the next lecture we will discuss about that radius ratio rule. So please subscribe this channel so that when I will put new videos of new topics, so you will get the notification of that lectures. So thank you.